I'm going to be really blunt. If you're expecting like a tidy wrap up or some kind of, I don't know, follow fault line, you're going to be disappointed with this video because this reading, not month, last few weeks, this was chaos, and the kind of chaos where your brain is clearly trying to process something. But instead of journaling like a normal person, you keep picking up completely different books and hoping one of them will explain you to yourself. So, yeah, mixed bag, and that doesn't really even begin to cover it. So we're going to talk about it. I'm Darth James, welcome to this episode. Remember to like and subscribe. And if you want early access and a podcast, check out memberships on this channel, Patreon. I have Substack for all the sort of written stuff, as well as the pay-for stuff. I like to have conversations, and a lot of the topics I want to talk about aren't, especially in the podcast, aren't YouTube friendly. So they're there. And if you want it, it's good. But a comment, a like, a hype, a quick hello will help dramatically. Hi. So, I have reread In the Miso Soup. And I don't even know what to say about In the Miso Soup that already hasn't been said better by someone else. But I'll say this. Anyway, this book feels like you're being watched. I don't mean creepy horror movie, in that more, like, quiet, uncomfortable way, where you're walking through a city at night and suddenly you're aware of yourself, every movement, every decision, every instinct. It's tense, it's weirdly intimate, and yet it's detached. Tokyo in this book isn't the romanticized version you see in travel influencers videos. It's not even cyberpunk aesthetic people love to pretend it is. Look, it's just people, late night, making choices they probably shouldn't be making. And the writer, he doesn't judge any of it. Murakami is amazing. That's the unsettling part. He just shows you and leaves you to sit with it. Dopamine Nation by Anna... I can't think how to say her last name. Lembke. Lembke? Anyway, this one I felt attacked. In a good way, but still attacked. Because it's one of those books where you go into thinking you're just going to learn something interesting about psychology, and instead you start seeing yourself in every example. The dopamine loops, the habits, those weird little compulsions you don't even question anymore. And I read this as someone with ADHD, late diagnosis, all the baggage, and it didn't let me hide behind that either, which I appreciate. Thank you to the person who told me about this in the comments. You know who you are. It's not preachy. It doesn't sit there and wiggle a finger at you. And, it's like, dopamine bad, you bad. It just lays it out. Here's what we do. Here's why we do it. And here's what it's costing us. And it kind of just leaves you there like, okay, now what are you going to do about it? And I don't have an answer for that. I don't think I'll ever have an answer, if I'm honest. Then I read the Zohar. Yes, this is where the reading takes a turn, because I go from modern psychology and all of that stuff to fundamental text of Kabbalah. Light reading, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I understood it all. That would be a big lie. But it's not really the point of something like the Zohar. It's not meant to be consumed the way we consume books now. It's symbolic, layered in ways that almost feels deliberately out of reach, which is what I found fascinating, how much of it is about questioning, not answers, questioning. About God, about existence, about meaning, about everything it turned over, examined, and reframed. And coming from someone who's kind of me, I didn't feel pushed away by it. If anything, I felt invited to sit with the questions and think about them, which is a refreshing point for books on religion. That's the best way to put it. Which, if you want the honest truth, it's more than I can say about a lot of modern self-help or spiritual content. So, yeah, I read the Zohar. Night People by Mark Ronson. Yeah, we're going on complete tangents, so please forgive how all over the place this video is. I think people got this wrong, or the marketing got it wrong, because if you go in expecting a full autobiography, a deep dive into Mark Ronson as a person, you're going to come out really disappointed. That's not what this is. This is a snapshot, a very specific time, a very specific place, and a very specific version of a scene that doesn't exist anymore. New York nightlife, pre-social media, pre-everything being documented and curated, and what I liked about it was how messy it felt. It's not polished, it's not overly reflective, just being there. And I think that threw people off because we're getting used to memoirs that explain themselves. And this one doesn't really do that, it just exists in that very specific moment. Now, because I'm a creature of habit, I might do a longer video about this. The courage to be happy. So this is the follow-up to The Courage to be Disliked. Same format, conversations between two people. And honestly, I was relieved it stuck to that, because there's no fluff here. It's not, here's my morning routine, or drink more water and your life will change. It's just ideas, back, forth, challenge, question, pushed. And you don't have to agree with all of it. I certainly didn't. But I respect it enough to it respects you enough to let you disagree, which again feels very rare, especially in kind of the self-help psychology genre. So yeah, this is my reading over the last few weeks. It's messy. It jumps from Tokyo nightlife horror to grief, to ancient mysticism, to 90s club culture, to Japanese philosophy. See, there's no clear narrative here. And I think if there's something I'm tying it all together, is that every single one of these books it's asking. That's the big thing I picked up on. They're asking. What are you doing and why? Nothing loud, nothing dramatic, just quiet background noise when you're reading. And maybe that's why I picked them up. Or maybe I'm just trying to give meaning to what is essentially me having absolutely no reading discipline, which is probably far closer to the truth. And if you read any of these, let me know, especially Night People, because I feel like I'm in the minority with that one. And if your reading weeks or month or whatever has been completely unhinged, good. Maybe it's just not me. Anyway, you guys know what to do, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.